Hey, you 12s. I'm hoping that this week, before we go back to school next week, we can do quite a bit of practice on annotating an article. Our next unit is analyzing and presenting argument. So what our essential task is we're going to be analyzing how an article is persuasive and how is it convincing the audience. And so what that requires is a lot of practice, and that's what I hope to do this week. We're going to just be practicing annotating an article. Okay. So when you receive your article, and you've done it last year, you've done it the year before, what you want to look at is the following, and it doesn't really change. You're looking for the author's contention. You're looking for the specific audience, who they are and what they value, because based on this, you will be able to figure out how it's convincing for them. Like, what are they thinking about as the specific audience? Then what you want to do is you want to find 6 to 8 of the most persuasive arguments or pieces of language that you're thinking to yourself, oh, I see what the author has done here. He's trying to make us feel bad, or she's trying to make us feel like it's really urgent and we need to do something right now. So that's what we want to highlight. And for us to be able to highlight this, we need to recognize the author's intent. The author's intent is, what is the writer doing? How is the specific audience intended to react? And why? And you guys need to have a good understanding about intent to be able to highlight the 6 to 8 persuasive arguments. The last thing I want you guys to try and recognize is the tone. And that tone can shift each paragraph or throughout the essay. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the Spire Primary School article, which you guys did over the holidays. I was going to say something. Oh, yes. When you get an article, what is really important is that you look at how an article starts, how an article is in the middle, and how it is at the end, because it's always different. So when you pick your 6 to 8 persuasive things, you want to definitely look at the start, the middle, and then the end. This unit that you are specifically doing is on analyzing and comparing. So you'll always have another smaller article, or even two, that you need to kind of compare it to. So I'm going to try and annotate 3 or 4 things from here as well. Okay. The first thing you want to do is just a general read. Now, don't forget the contextual information. So the principal of Spire Primary School writes a weekly message. She invites comments, favourable or unfavourable, to be posted. The principal has been concerned about the amount of packaging waste that she has seen around the school. Her message about this concern and a response from one parent. So already, if we want to start annotating, and I'm going to see if I can insert a comment, we know primary audience will be parents who are concerned about the educational and well-being outcomes of their kids. Teachers also might be in the audience, and students might be the primary audience. So when you look at what is persuasive, you want to think of, okay, how is it actually persuading parents? What are parents likely to feel? What are teachers likely to feel? What are students likely to feel? Okay, so this is me having annotated my primary audience. Okay, I'm going to post. I'm like learning how to use Adobe, whatever this is called, Adobe Acrobat Pro. Okay, now something to also recognize in your introduction is that this is a blog. So it's not an article. Well, you could say it's an article posted on the school's website. So it's a school website. It's not designed to be too formal. So that is something to be aware of as well. Okay, so let's see what this principle has to say. And the other thing that we definitely can't forget is the image. All right. So, dear parents of Spire Primary School, I write to you this week to introduce a new concept for all of us to think about. So, already she's kind of using us. So, she's including everyone. Oh no, I hear you say, she's got another idea. It is true that I often take the school down new paths, especially in areas that affect the preservation of our planet. We are the only school that has a walk to pedal school day once a week rather than once a month or even once a term. We have 4 different bins for our waste products, not just 3. Our vegetable garden is truly organic and our pet hens scratch and roam as they wish. But I think we at Spire can do more. We're responsible for the future of the world. So, Year 12, she has started this piece off basically establishing her credentials as this innovative principal who has gone above and beyond caring for the environment. So she says, we are the only local school that has whatever. We have 4 different bins as opposed to 3. Our vegetable garden is truly organic, maybe compared to other fake vegetable gardens in other fake schools. That's kind of what she's implying, right? Her vegetable garden is truly organic. So here, what I'm going to write is that Walker establishes her credentials as an innovative and caring principal. And guys, if you think about it, it's pretty smart to start off your piece establishing your authority and your past experience in the area. If you think about the effect that you will write, parents will view her as pretty, pointing her past credentials as sufficient. Her past credentials as sufficient experience in the area of sustainability. Basically, why should we believe this Walker person? Why? Look at all the things she's done. Okay, I'm going to keep going. And then she says, I have been increasingly concerned about the amount of superfluous packaging in our everyday lives. She has changed her tone here. Her tone was kind of warm before, oh no, I hear you say, she's got another idea. Quite light-hearted. She makes a dig at herself. But now her tone is actually quite concerned. So I hope you guys start to pick that up, that a tone can change. The newspaper in plastic, hamburgers in boxes, individual packets of tissues, little packages of rice crackers and chips. You might say that the material from which these containers are made are biodegradable or recyclable, but they still exist, still clogging our bins and eventually our country. So I think eventually our country, that bit, is designed to kind of instill fear. Uh-oh. I just want to comment on this. Just help me do that, please. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. Instill fear in parents that the future world for their children will be filled with toxic waste if more stringent action isn't taken now. Okay, and then this photo kind of backs up that view that if we don't do anything, look at the mounds and mounds of rubbish that is built up, and that'll be our country and it'll affect the environment. So the picture reinforces the view that without action, the country will be destroyed by rubbish and overwhelm us all. So guys, when you talk about an argument and an image, you always pair the image with an argument. In here, I'm pairing the image with this bit here. So when I start to quote this, I'm going to use the photo. The environmental damage will be irreversible. That's something that's pretty strong. That's designed to instill fear, and that's probably what I'm going to write here. Oh yeah, instills fear and alarm. Okay, we'll keep going. So then her next paragraph. So can you see already, I haven't highlighted every single thing. I've highlighted a couple of things that have one argument over here. I've highlighted the tone shift, and I've highlighted a secondary argument. So it's basically two arguments that I want to talk about, and I'm framing that with like 3 or 4 quotes, or 2 or 3 quotes each. This is what I want you guys to be able to do. Okay, let's keep going. I'm definitely going to run out of time, so hopefully I finish this page in the next couple of minutes. Last week I walked around the grounds at recess time, talking as I do to any student who wanted to chat. Many, I am glad to say. So she's telling us, and she's making a point to tell us, that she's quite popular with the kids, that kids want to chat to her. So her intent here is she's showcasing her popularity and how the students, how she is in touch with students. I'm sure you all know about principals who don't even know your name and have never heard of you and don't know who you are. This is a principal that walks and talks and mingles with her student. So parents will be feeling good about this. Parents may feel comforted at a principal who cares about their children. Ooh. So this is, it is hard, but this is what you want to be thinking about while you are reading and annotating your article. A lot of the work is done initially when you select the things you want to analyze. Okay, I kept seeing your children hold little plastic packets with a few biscuits on one side and some cheese spread on the other. When children had eaten the little packets became waste material. I have found myself wondering why those biscuits could not have been spread with cheese at home and brought to school in a reusable container. Spread with cheese at home. Other children were drinking juice from cardboard boxes. Why not a washable plastic bottle? At our canteen, I saw a child buy a sushi roll and applesauce and apply soy sauce from a cute little plastic fish. That fish ended up on the ground until I asked the student to put it in the bin. More rubbish. Why not use a common flask? So what she is doing here is she's actually offering simple sustainable solutions for all common problems. Offering simple, sustainable solutions I'm going to run out of time. I'll continue this in the next video for all common problems.